up guys, MKBHD here, and it's that time of year again. So for those who don't know, all the smartphones we're about to see for the second half of this year, Galaxy Note 10, Huawei Mate 30 Pro, Pixel 4, iPhone 11, all the designs for them are pretty much done behind the scenes already. And one of the most consistent cycles in press is the dimensionally accurate dummies that come out for the iPhone case makers to make their cases for the new iPhone. So we have hands-on of these dummies, shout out to Sonny Dixon, and for 2019, we will again have 3 new iPhones, iPhone 11, iPhone 11 Max, and iPhone 11R. I guess we're technically not 100% sure that's what their names will be. They could stick with Roman numerals. iPhone XI seems like they probably won't do that. So yeah, I'll just call it iPhone 11. And so the main major change that we've all been seeing in these renders for months now is this new camera bump on the back. This new tile-looking, Apple Watch-looking, alien eye, bug-looking camera bump. And I gotta say, I have very mixed feelings about it. See, on one hand, I love that we're getting a meaningful upgrade to the camera on the iPhone. It looks like that's gonna be the biggest change to the new iPhone. And so triple cameras is the wave. You have your standard, your telephoto, and your ultra-wide. And that's fun. That's what we've been expecting to see for a while. And I'm crossing my fingers that that ultra-wide is just as good of quality in photos and videos as the other two. Imagine ultra-wide 4K from an iPhone as a video camera. Like, I love the mini trend of adding an ultra-wide camera to these flagships, and the rumor that the Pixel 4 won't have an ultra-wide camera makes me sad. So I'm a fan of the focus on the camera, pun intended, but I am not a fan of the way this looks. Like this rounded square thing, it's gonna look awkward on the Pixel 4. It already looks kind of awkward on the Huawei Mate 20 Pro, but at least it's smaller and centered, which actually seems to make a pretty good difference and making it less jarring and less alien-like and clunky. But yeah, it's gonna look kind of awkward on this iPhone, and it's bigger. Also, not sure if they keep the color of the phone back in the camera bump or if they just make it all black. I've seen renders do it both ways. This one's by Venya Geskin. I kind of like it a little bit less than having it all black. Right now, Apple does all black in the cameras, but either way, it just looks kind of chunky. And also, still having a camera bump, not making it flush. I've said this before, you can make the phone a little thicker and have no bump, and that would be cool with me. I remember the days of the iPhone 5S not having a camera bump, but this still has a bump. I guess I just don't really know if I buy that this is the best design for a new iPhone 11 that they could come up with. Like, we know they usually have the TikTok strategy, 6 and 6S look the same, then new design for 7 and 7S, and 10 and 10S. So I was thinking about this potential new sort of boxy modern design like the iPad Pro for the iPhone 11, and we even know tons of people are gonna be waiting for this new iPhone, but it kind of seems like they just mailed it in. It's just the same design with the new camera. I don't know, it makes me wonder when we're gonna start to see iPhones not designed by Johnny Ive. Anyway, just to stop ranting about the new design for a second, what else can we expect from these 3 new iPhones? Well, it's looking like we'll have the same screen sizes for the iPhone 11 and iPhone 11 Max, still 5.8 inch and 6.5 inch, still OLED. The front-facing camera suite is also expected to be similar, likely new sensors for improved and faster Face ID, but still one selfie camera, still a notch, still the same kind of huge notch in the world where almost everyone is rapidly getting rid of theirs. And then the signs are strong that they will actually be getting rid of 3D touch. So if you remember the pressure-sensitive deep presses and force touches, to me this is fine. This isn't something I used all the time other than maybe lock screen, flashlight, and camera shortcuts. But you can get them with a long press anyway, so I'm not super bummed about that. I just wish it made it cheaper. Anyway, we should get a new spec bump, of course, to the new chips alongside iOS 13. But aside from that, still Lightning, again, still asymmetrical speakers at the bottom, no USB Type-C, thanks Apple. And overall, just the rest of the design is pretty much the same as the 10 and 10S. Same shapes, same rails, same chamfer, same or very similar colors. That's the whole deal. And then with the iPhone 11R, it'll be interesting to see what they do with the display and the cameras. The display, just because that was basically the biggest complaint a lot of people like me had with this iPhone, having a low pixel density and not the greatest display, even though it turned out to be not a huge deal for most people and they end up buying it anyway. But fingers crossed, maybe they'll improve that a bit. And then, of course, the iPhone XR had a single camera in a world of dual cameras. It looks like this iPhone 11R is also going to have one less camera than its brothers. So if you look closely at these models, you'll notice the flash is in a very different place on the 11R where the third camera would be. And so sure enough, there's only 2 cameras on that budget iPhone where there's 3 on the flagships. And I am hoping that means it's going to be a standard and an ultra wide. I kind of think Apple's going to end up doing that because you can still do portrait mode without the telephoto, and they got rid of the telephoto for the 10R, so I think the 11R will be standard and ultra wide. I hope. Then as far as extras like reverse wireless charging, can't really tell from the renders. I mean, they're still going to have the glass backs most likely, but we don't know about that. So yeah, no USB Type-C. The battery maybe marginally larger, a little bit, not hugely. No 120 hertz display is expected anyway. Fingerprint reader under the glass, also not expected if they stick with Face ID like they're supposed to. Just overall a pretty underwhelming update. This really seems like the first time they're not doing a major design shift after the S version of the iPhone. We go from 10S to 11, and it's looking very similar. Usually for these videos, looking at the models, we would go super hard with After Effects Magic so you could get a better idea of what it would look like on a working phone if you're holding it in your hand. But the differences are so minimal, you almost can't tell. It looks just like an iPhone 10 or 10S. Like just from looking at this piece, what this model is telling me is the camera is going to be the biggest upgrade on the new iPhone. It'll be interesting to see how they sell that, and they'll probably go super hard about it on stage to justify this. But if you're one of those people who's, pretty opportune to upgrade every single year with the new iPhone based on having new features, that is pretty much the only new feature to look forward to as far as we know. But yeah, that's been it. I'm kind of curious, would you skip this new iPhone? I know a lot of people, you break a phone, you kind of need a new phone and you just got to wait till September and then this comes out and you get it. But would you skip this new iPhone? Let me know in the comments section below. I'm curious. Either way, thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.